Welcome everybody, welcome to this hour we've got with the Craftalong. I'm Scott, taking you through, well, I'm not going to be taking you through, I'm going to be with you, listening to Teacher. Lovely Hayley Smith is here for the Craftalong, the third Craftalong actually.
It's actually my last one, it's my third Craftalong and it's week 3 of my third Craftalong.
Yes.
So I'm done and dusted after this one until 2 weeks' time.
Oh.
We start over again.
I'm looking forward to this because actually this was actually the project on my first part of a Craftalong.
Yes, I have. I've got the bit that you actually did. So this is the one that's here, the dog cushion. So this is really, really cute. This is English paper piecing, but with a twist, because instead of your standard hexagons, it's actually done with dog shapes. It works exactly the same way. It's all short, straight lines, whip stitching them together. So I know you've got a little bit of admin to do first, but then what we're going to do is do a quick recap of the last couple of weeks, in case anybody's missed that, and then we will crack on with the last bit.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't
Fancy
wait.
doing a bit of admin?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
You love a bit of admin. And you quite liked the penguin project, didn't you?
I did.
And that's what we did on Friday. So I've brought one that was partially finished back in so that Scott can actually fully finish penguin.
I've got work to do, everybody. I have work to do. It's not going to be an easy hour for me either. I've got to stitch things up and stuff and put eyes in. Anyway, before we get to doing all that lovely stuff, let me tell you, it's not too late to get what you need for our brilliant cushion course for the patchworking. And now, I will say, you do have to be quick. It's excuse me, it's the last of the actual live versions, of course, with our Craftalong. But it's only a £5 that you can see there for the patchwork cushion. And honestly, I was involved on the very first one of the 3 of these, and it's great. It's really rewarding. So let me take it personally. If you have never done any stitch work at all and you feel like having a go, I really enjoyed doing this actually from week 1. Catch it on rewind, have a go, because it might take me 15 minutes to thread the needle, but once I had, there was also a sense of achievement at the threading of needle.
I gave you special needles.
Yeah, they get the special needle in the kit, don't they?
They do get the special needle,
you get the easy thread needle. Wow. Sometimes you don't realise how much you love something until you've had a go at using it. It's brilliant. And I really miss it when I didn't have it the following week. So, go for the kit, grab it. It's only a £5, like I say. Really, really good. Now, we've got lots more kits available. If you're watching for the first time and feel like, what else are they doing as far as those Craftalong? We'll give you more details later on, but you can actually shop ahead already. So if you want to get knitting in there as well, we've had some fantastic works as well with Matthew Palmer, which is absolutely brilliant. Loads. I'm loving as well the rugging hedgehog that's coming up course as well. That looks great fun. They're all here. We've got hats and bags and all sorts. And they will be with you as soon as you get that order in ready, so you can join along. Right then, I suppose you better get to Hayley. I'm going to crack on with my penguin and see how we get on.
Okay, so I'm quickly going to run through what we did in the first couple of weeks. So, first week, very first thing we did was we took our large black piece of fabric that came in the kit and we cut out these kind of 2 sizes on here, and these are the 2 that I'm going to refer back to shortly because that's what we're going to use to actually make the backing of it. So, with the leftover fabric, we cut out 8 black dogs, we cut out 8 of the light coloured spotty dogs and 8 of the darker coloured spotty dogs. So we had 24 dogs in total. We then used the template that was in the kit, did a 1 centimetre seam allowance around all of those pieces of fabric that we needed, those 8 of each dogs, and cut them out. Then we went ahead, and this is the one that you did, Scott, where we actually attached the dogs to the fabric. And it's really important that obviously you mark which side is going to be the side that's kind of facing you, so all of your dogs go the same way, because there's nothing worse than working out you've done some one way and some the other. But these are fine because they all fit in together, so it's all good. So once you've got everything, that was the homework for the first lesson. First lesson, homework, was get all your dogs stitched onto your paper. The lesson that we did with Fiona, was to start stitching those dogs together. So we did a short straight line, so we started at the toe, up towards the tail, short straight line using a whip stitch over the top as you go. When you get to the corners, you flatten them out so you can kind of see how they should fit together. Then you fold it in the next direction of that next short straight line that you're going to sew. And then again, you pick them up, you whip stitch those in place, and then fold it out again, fold it back, So every time you fold it out so you can kind of get your bearings as to the bit that you're doing next, then you fold it, sew it, open it back out, and then that's our next one. So then we fold it and we sew it. And you continue doing that. So when you've done all your dogs, you need to keep alternating colours. So for example, it would go like that. And then you'd build that up into your rows 6. Now each of your rows needs to start with a different colour, because what you're going to do is you're going to end up stacking these all up together, and you need to kind of let those dogs kind of start rotating round so that they're all going to match up, and you're not going to end up with 2 of the same colours on top of each other like you've got there. So that's all explained in the instructions. I'll put that back quickly so you can see it. And that's all explained in the instructions. So where you should be now is we went and sewed them into rows first. So there you go. It says sew them up like that into rows first. And the reason you do that is that's the line that needs the most manipulation to it. So you need to fold it, open it up, fold it, open it up, fold it, open it up. There's 4 folds to do in that one. Whereas coming across the top, this is almost straight apart from those ears. So that's why we do those rows going horizontally second, because it's just a much quicker, easier sew. Once you've got all your fabric together, let me grab, where's my demo pieces? Oh, down here. This actually isn't even my homework. I didn't get a chance to finish my homework, so I've stolen somebody else's homework.
Oh, naughty.
I'll take that off and then it will look like mine. There we go. And then you're going to take all of the paper out. So you don't really want to take the paper out until you've got either the whole dog surrounded. So I wouldn't take that one out because there's nothing on the top, there's nothing on the sides of it either. So that wouldn't hold its shape. Whereas one in the centre of here, that could be taken out because it's all surrounded. Once you get right to the end and you want to kind of release everything to be able to start on the next step, which is where we're heading now, you want all of that paper out, which is what I've done. And now let me just move these instructions out of the way. And now we've got all the paper out, we're going to start to attach the backing fabric. Now, I don't want to cut this to its kind of finished size until right before I come to sew this together, because we've got some bits of stitching kind of along the edges there, and we're going to have to cut through those. And as soon as we cut through it, it's going to weaken the structure of it. So we want to leave this like this for as long as we can, and just before we're ready to sew it, then we can cut it. So we will pop that to one side while we do the back of our cushion. So let me just grab the bit that we need for that. So this is the piece here. This is the piece that we cut off on the first week. And if you have a look, if I pop it there on the back, it's exactly kind of, if I flip it around, there you go. It's kind of exactly double the size of the back of the cushion. And that's because what we're going to do is we're going to have an overlap in it. Can you see this one here? We've got a little bit of an overlap in it, and that's so that when your cushion is sealed up, then you can't actually, you're not going to see the white bit of the cushion pad or something. So that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to take this piece and we are going to chop it in half. It does give you specific sizes if you want to work to them, fine. I've got enough here that I can chop it exactly in half, but obviously my homework, which is not even my homework, is not this, it's about half the size that I need it, because if you have a look here, I've got 4 dogs in a row and I've got 3 rows of them, so I've actually only got 12 dogs sewn together here. Yours should be 6 in a row, so about this much wider, and 4 rows high, so about that much taller, so it should be a bit bigger than this. This one is a little bit smaller, but it fits on the screen better. So, see, this fits lovely. If it was a bit bigger, it wouldn't fit.
No, perfectly thought
so
out.
It's fine. We're gonna make a slightly smaller one, but you go from the measurements that are on there. I'm gonna make a slightly smaller one, just on the basis that that's how mine has to fit together. So, did I give you my scissors, or did I keep
I've got
a pair?
scissors over here.
I did give you some. That's fine.
Yeah,
I was just checking.
Oh, you've set me up nicely.
He's dead quiet, isn't he?
Isn't it? Just, if you want to just shut up a Worsfold, just give them needle
Give
and
them
thread.
a penguin.
Just give them a penguin. Pick
Who
up a
knew?
penguin. I think it's been used
eh? Okay, so I am going to cut these slightly smaller because my project is a little bit smaller and I'm going to have a little bit left over. So that's enough for my top bit. Now what you can do is, instead of cutting these, if your cutting's not very straight, you can actually rip these, and what that will do is give you a really straight edge to work from. So that's one piece. And then I'll cut the other one. So I'll do the same again. That's because it's the edge of the fabric.
That's the sound you never want to hear when you bend over, isn't it?
You what?
That's the sound you never want to hear, especially when you're out in public.
Oh, has it happened?
Yeah.
I did it once here, you know, but it wasn't the bum bit. It was like weirdly near my knee that it had ripped.
It has happened to me on stage once.
Oh dear.
Yeah. It was all right for me, but the people in the stalls didn't enjoy it.
They get an eyeful, did they?
Too close. Very interactive show.
Now I know that these two pieces are going to overlap and create my back of my... I mean, these are black on black, so that's why I'm not kind of showing them too much. We now need to make on both of these pieces what's called a double rolled hem. So let's shuffle this one out the way and we will go for this one. So a double rolled hem is kind of exactly what it says on the tin. You're going to roll it over once, and I'm just using my fingernail just to give that a bit of a press. There you go. So you're going to roll it over once, and it says in the instructions about 1 centimetre. So you want that to be the bit that's rolled over there to be roughly 1 centimetre. And then double rolled is exactly as it implies. You're going to fold it over a second time, therefore double rolling it. And what you can see now is all of those raw edges disappear into the centre. Do you know what I'm wondering? I've got another piece of fabric here that's a bit lighter, and I think I might just switch this out and demonstrate on that, because I think that black on black on black, you're not really going to see that well. So let me just grab another bit of fabric. Can you do some admin for a second?
Yeah, of course
and I'll just swap this fabric out. I mean, this is the one you get in the kit, and this is absolutely the one you're going to use. Just for the purposes of you seeing what I'm doing on camera, I'm going to switch to a slightly lighter one because I think it's going to be easier for you guys to see.
Okie dokie, that's good. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put up my little Peter Penguin to the side again at the moment. A little bit still. I've got to turn him around and put some eyes in there in a second. Right then, now then, let's talk about the bag. Now, this is the messing bag. Now, actually, this is the next project that Hayley's been working with, and we were talking about this the other day, and it was already proving really, really popular, actually. So if you do want to get involved in this one, go for it, because I think there'll be a lot of people crafting along with you, actually, on that particular one. I think what's lovely about this is actually because you do get this lovely black and white print fabric that you're working with. Let me show you one over here that you can see that's actually got all that lovely colour, and you can do that yourself. You can add whatever you want to do with it, you know. So whatever it is, pre-prepare your colour and your fabric before you start your project. I don't know if that's in... I think that might be done before. Would you expect people to colour it before they've started the project?
I would definitely say colour before you start. It's going to make your life an awful lot easier, because you're going to be able to get into all the bits that would be in the seams that you might not be able to get into once you've sewn it together. So definitely do it ahead of time. So
do make sure you make sure that. So when you do get it, your homework, even before you start with your craft along with Hayley, is to make sure that your fabric is coloured how you want to. You might want to leave it in black and white. It looks great, actually, in the monochrome kind of style.
Have you seen the sneaky, cheeky, bright lining, though?
Well, I'm just about to show right now on the inside that you can see. Because look on the inside, you get some really lovely, and that is your print of your fabric you're going to be working with. So that is going to give you your inside of the bag, and that is really, really lovely. I thought there was another little pouch. Oh, there we go, the zip. There it is on the front, and again the same there. So you've got lovely bright colours on the inside, and I quite like that then with your black and your white print on the outside. But it's £7 only that you'll be looking at for this one, which is really nice. It's 3 weeks, and you'll be starting on the 4th of August. Now, of course, the great thing is with all the craft-alongs, you can always catch it up and rewind at a later date. Even if you miss the first one, it doesn't really matter, because you can catch up with that and pick it up at your own pace. And so that's nice and easy. 616 533. But it's a brilliant project. Like I say, really, really popular even before we got to this show. So do go for this. But it's a lovely, great way, honestly, for all of these. If you just fancy something to start with, imagine how you feel. You've made that for £7, and it's all sent through to you. 616 533. Hayley, are we all good?
Yes, I'm all good. What I've got is I've got a grey that will actually match the dogs that I've got on this particular panel, and it's just a little bit easier to see where I'm folding things now. So we've folded over once. We're going to fold over a second time, and if you've got an iron, I would definitely recommend ironing this in place before you go ahead and start to sew the edge. So, got two options here. If you have a sewing machine and you want to use a sewing machine, that is fine. I will show you how to do that in a second. But we're assuming that everybody is hand stitching here. So let me get my needle that I had threaded, which I have lost. There it is. It had nice bright blue on it, so I could see what I was doing. Oh, I think I've just unthreaded it, but it is fine. We can rethread. Come here. There we go.
I'm very excited.
It's one of the easy threads. Oh, you put the eyes in?
Not yet. Should I have done that the way around?
Well, I would put a... Sorry, we'll just go back to the penguin
just
for
having a
1
look at my
second.
penguin. I've done some stitches, I've turned it the right way around.
If you take a little bit of the stuffing, put it into his head, just so you can see the shape of the head, because that will give you a much better idea of where to put the eyes.
Okay.
So pop a little bit of stuffing in, and then snip 2 tiny holes in. You want them super tiny.
Super tiny.
Because the fleece will stretch a little bit, so you can kind of push
I think you'll be impressed with my stitching, though, when you have a look.
Well, OK. I'll have an inspect
just want to let you know that. I'm very
pleased. Get your red pen out. So this is one of the easy thread needles, and as you can see, it's got kind of 2 holes on the top and a little notch in there as well. So the way that this works is that you can either thread it normally through the bottom hole, or you can pull the thread through in that top notch. So you would kind of line it up in the notch. Where am I? There we go. And then just pull it down. Hang on, I've got to kind of support the bottom, because otherwise it'll go. There we go. You see that pop in there? And then that is now a threaded needle. So you love a good easy thread needle, don't you?
Oh, honestly, I just think, you know, sometimes
you go... It's been a revelation, haven't they?
You go, how can you improve on a needle? I mean, a needle's been around for how many years, you know, working there. How can you improve on them? Tell you what you can do. You can make it so you can actually thread them. It really threw me the other day when I didn't know that there was one there waiting to be used, and I had to do the old-fashioned way of threading it. But if you're like me, and maybe not 20/20 vision, you know, they are perfect.
Yeah, they're really, really handy. So I'm going to show you quickly how you can hand stitch this, and then we'll look at doing it on the machine as well. So to hand stitch this, I would start it off by coming in between the 2 layers that we had that was folded over there. And then from there, we're going to go and stitch a tiny bit through onto what will be the front of the fabric. And then we're going to come and hide the rest of this stitch inside that fold. So we're going to stitch down and into there. Now, if you do this in the black thread that comes with the kit, then this will become invisible. Obviously, I'm doing it with a bright blue so you can see where I've been. So you're doing 1 little stitch over to kind of encompass a little bit of that fabric on the front there. You can just see my kind of tiny little blue stitches popping through there. And then when you come through to the back, you're going to sew through the edge of that seam allowance to be able to hide the rest of it. So I'll do a couple more of them just to make sure that you got the hang of it. And then we will go and have a look at doing it on a machine. So 1 more through the seam allowance, back out, and then back through to catch the front again. And definitely press this with your iron first, so that crease stays nice and flat and doesn't keep kind of flopping open for you. So that's how I would do it if I wanted it to be invisible on the front there. Your other option obviously is to do it on a machine. So let me just clip that off. I keep putting my scissors down somewhere today.
I thought you got scissors.
I've got about 6 pairs, because I know I do that, and I know I just abandon them. So I always bring about 6 pairs of scissors, so I can just abandon them and then round them all up at the end. Okay, so sewing machine. Let me just grab that. Ooh. So if you are sewing a double rolled hem on a sewing machine, what you are going to need to do is sew it with the hem, the rolled bit, face up. And what I would recommend that you do is when you pop your foot down, let me just swivel this round a bit so you can see. I'll sew back to front and then you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Oh, there we go. Right. Okay, so that's what it will look like for you. I've got the open edge of that just caught in there, just up against that toe, and then my needle is set just so I can run down the edge there. Now, if this works back to front, it'll be a miracle. Let's see how we get on. Ah, see, that's not far enough across. Do you see how it's stitching almost down the middle of this seam? Now, I've got this fully rolled over twice, so I've got fabric all the way through, so that wouldn't hurt this seam, but if I didn't have as much fabric and the fabric wasn't as generous, then it would. So what I actually need to do is either move my fabric or move my needle. On this machine, the needle will move, so that's what I'm going to do. If you didn't have that capability, you'd need to pop up that and then just shuffle it across and pop it down again so your needle was closer to the edge of that fabric. But because I'm going back to front and upside down, I'm going to just move my needle across that way. There we go, that's better. And then, oh, it's very hard to do back to front. Oh, it's on a massive stitch length as well. There, better. And see, that's rolling up. I'm going to just tuck that back under as we go.
Eyes are nearly in on me penguin. I've had a...
Well, this is the thing with the Craftalongs, you know, they might not all be for you, and it's about giving everything a go.
I've been very panicky
and then
about where to
finding
stick
out
his
the one that
eyes.
works for you. And for you, it was the soft toy making that you seem to enjoy. So let him go. Let him crack on.
Yeah.
So this one is done, and I'll just take it off there so you can have a look. Obviously, I've stitched on the back with that really... Let me get rid of the sewing machine for a second. I've stitched on the back with a really, really bright orange. But on the bottom bobbin, I've actually had the grey, so you kind of can hardly see it. And to be fair, considering that was upside down and back to front, I've had worse. So I'll take it. I will take it. So when you now come to assemble your cushion, what you're going to need to do, let me just pull this one into position, is you're going to need to start putting it together and think about the way that the cushion goes together. So you're working inside out. So first of all, do you know what? I might just take this off of here and then flip it for you so you can see exactly where we're going. Because I think this is sometimes where people get mixed up in what order to put the back of the cushion together. Because this is an envelope back cushion, and I think that sometimes people get a little muddled up of which bit goes first. So just to help you on this one, you don't need to add these in. This is just because this was a sample that we already had done. There is a little button on what will be the inside of the back, and there is a buttonhole on what will be the outside of the back. So first thing you're going to put down is your fabric that you've created with your patchwork, and you're going to leave that face up. The next bit you're going to put, so I'll put that side by side, you can see the next bit that I'm going to put on there is my backing that's going to end up being the top half of my envelope. So you can make your mind up whether you want it to open from the top or open from the bottom. I would tend to have them where the top comes down, because then if you accidentally flip your cushion round, your biscuits don't go down it. They slide over it. Sorry, we've lost Scott now.
Well, I wouldn't say you've lost me. I've looked at his eyes, and one's slightly lower, but I mean, I think it's...
Let's have a look.
I mean, they're a little bit... you know, he's...
Get him some glasses. We'll make him some glasses.
Yeah, no penguins are perfect.
I mean, you can take those eyes out, but you'd have to replace the back.
I like his little imperfection.
OK, that's good.
I mean, his glasses would be a little bit... If they were real, you know, it'll be like that, equivalent.
Yeah. Bit Morecambe and Wise.
Yeah.
That's fine. This is fine.
That's OK. We love the penguin.
So let me just go back to this. You're doing a lovely job, though. Well done.
Thank you.
So
do you feel like you're child-minded?
a little bit. So we've got our fabric that we've created. We've put our first half down, and that's got our good side of our double rolled hem. So that's our kind of side that we want to show on the finished piece. That is face down, and then we'll have another one with a double rolled hem, and that will go on top of that. Once you've got all of them together, it's definitely worth either pinning everything, or if you don't have any pins, using some of the thread that's left over and tacking all the way around. And by tacking, I mean the same kind of stitches we used to hold the original dogs onto the paper. Just big, lumpy stitches all the way around, just kind of roughly holding everything in place. So if we're going to hand stitch this now, what I would definitely recommend you do is, I've made these bigger than they need to be. So if I'm going to hand stitch this, let me just throw a couple of pins in here, because I am going to be moving this about quite a lot. So if you have got pins and you are going to use pins on it, then the places that I would definitely add a pin is the points where both of those pieces of fabric for your backing meet. So I'm going to come from the side as well, because if I'm adding pins in this, if I'm going to go up and down like that, it's actually going to kind of distort the fabric as I sew down it. So it's better for this type of thing to go that way, side to side, and then there's much less distortion as you sew down. Your other option is if you've got any little clips, little paper clips, little bulldog clips, these are quilting clips, then you can do those as well. And it's exactly the same principle with that. It's these pieces here where those two, what will be the backing fabrics, meet, because you want to keep those nicely in position. So let me just whack another pin in there. And then all four corners and one in the middle. So let's do one in the middle up there. And you'll be able to see the middle because there'll be a split between those kind of two dogs. And then
do you think you're on schedule to get this finished in the hour, Hayley?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh, that'll be fine. Just checking on us.
Just checking, just checking in on you now. You know.
Okay, so again, we've got two options on this. We've got the option to hand sew it, or we've got the option to machine sew it. So I'll show you how to hand sew it first, and then what we'll do is quickly whip this up on the machine to make sure we get it finished. What's your penguin going to be called, Scott?
Oh, well, now you've thrown me. I think we need people to message in.
Okay. Do you want to?
Oh, Beverly said she loves the penguin.
Kind of
well done, Scott. So, thank you, Beverly. Thank you very much indeed. Now, you made name said penguin. studio@thecraftstore.com. If you would like to name the penguin, because just trying to put enough stuff in that it stays up at the moment. So I'll just leave that one with me. It's okay.
I'm just going to repin this, and the reason that I'm repinning it is, can you see along the bottom here? It's just, if I flip it over, it might be easier to see actually. It's just not quite straight down these sides. Can you see the backs of the heads should all kind of line up, and can you see how I'm just kind of coming off a little bit at the bottom? Now that could be that it's just not quite straight, but the real telling point will be here. As long as this is where my two bits of my front and back join up. So that's where I'm looking at to make sure that that is kind of straight and level all the way across. And actually, I don't think it's that bad. I'm just going to pop them down and then pop those pins back in. And put them back in at the sides. And these pins are really just to stop it flapping about everywhere as we're moving it around and manipulating it to where we need it to be. So if we're going to hand stitch this, we want to do a running back stitch. So a running back stitch is what you used on the penguin, and that one is pretty straightforward. What I would definitely recommend you do is stitch from this side, because this is the side where you can see where all your dogs are, and you can see those lines, and that will give you an idea of where you're aiming for as you work your way up. So for a running back stitch, let me just put a knot in the end here. I'll just put a scruffy one in because we don't need to see it. There you go. So for a running back stitch, we are going to go in and out, and you want to keep these stitches quite small. I would say 5 millimeters, something like that, about maybe 1/8 of an inch, something quite small. We're going to go, we're going to go down, and then once we've gone down, we're going to come back up in the middle of that stitch, and then do our next one. Now you can do it this way up, or you can do it the other way up, whether your small stitches are on the front. It's entirely up to you. So that's doing it one way, and I'll show you doing it the other way as well. And you would just work your way along. I would definitely draw your square on here before you start to stitch it though, because then you'll have an exact line to follow. Just use something like a pencil, or if you've got a heat erasable pen, then even better, because then you'll be able to, you know, always iron that line away if you want to. So that's one option on your stitching. It's exactly the same stitch, but if you come at it from the other way, what you end up with is you stitch quite far forward. So you stitch a bigger stitch forward. Oh, I'm going the same way again. I need a small stitch. And then we come, oops. So we go down and up, and then we come back on ourselves. It's exactly the same stitch, it's just it looks different from either side. So this is, I've done one in reverse and one the other way up, and if I flip this over, you'll see they kind of look exactly the same. So this is the one where we've gone short stitch on the top. That's the one where we've gone long stitch on the top. It's entirely up to you how you do it, because it'll look the same on reverse. So because that was long stitch on the top, it's now got short stitch on the back, short stitch on the top, long stitch on the back. So you want to do that around all 4 sides. You don't have to worry about stopping anywhere around here to turn it right side out, because you've got that envelope back and that's in position, so you've got that gap to turn it later on. So you just need to go all the way around here, and in the interest of getting this finished within the hour, I'm going to just quickly switch it over to the sewing machine to be able to do that. So let me just pop that over there. And if you're going to do it on a sewing machine, then I would definitely start not on one of these kind of dead corners, because you're kind of going to probably struggle a little bit with that. Now I just need to whip these pins out so we can get around here. So I'm going to try and keep it as close to this edge as I can. What I want to make sure of is any bits that I've got, like this one here, where it's one of those snips into the fabric. Let me just move that hand so you can see a bit better. Those little snips into the fabric there, I want to just make sure that I am not kind of leaving any of those gaps as I sew around. And this is all quite nice short straight lines on here. So I'm starting just shy of that corner, because I'm going to come back round and get that when I head back over. And I'm using the lines on my foot as a guide and just stepping it in ever so slightly. It's in the same position as I had it for sewing the edge of the back of the cushion. So I should be able to just catch a little. Why is this stitch so massive? Turn it off, turn it on again. That'll sort out. There you go. That's better. My stitch was really long, and the reason I shortened that stitch was I don't want really big gaps, because when I turn this right side out, it'll have big stitches between it, which will leave me with kind of big gaps where you'll be able to actually see the stitches. So that's why I've gone ahead and just kind of tightened that in a little bit. Now the next course, which is the messenger bag, that is one that will predominantly be sewing by machine. You can sew it by hand, and I will, as we go along, show you the hand stitch techniques. but predominantly that one is a sewing machine one. And if you haven't got a machine, I would say it is definitely worth trying to borrow one from a friend or family to be able to do that one. So when
or
I get
a
down
hint
to the...
in for a Christmas present or birthday present.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Start it off.
So when I get down to the bottom here, when I'm coming across with the legs have the little snips in them as well, where the kind of ear of the next one goes in. So that where you're coming along there, you've got those little flaps where the ears come in. On the bottom layer, you want to make sure you're coming just above those. So let me just quickly turn this round. And you'll notice I haven't cut anything off yet. I haven't cut my fabric off yet. And that's because it's kind of 6 and 2 3s. If you cut your fabric off first, you've got a really nice square piece to work with. But if you leave the fabric whole, you've got a much more stable piece to work with. So personally, I'd rather work with the stable piece and then come back and cut off that excess. It's just going to make your life an awful lot easier. So I'm going to stop just there, and then we're going up the next side. And you continue all the way around. Pick up the pace now, because we've got about 10 to 15 minutes left.
Oh, it's gone quick, hasn't it?
It's because you've been busy.
Well, I know. So, mate, it's true
You've
they
been
say
good as
time
gold,
flies when you're
haven't
having
you?
fun, Hayley.
Do you know what? I actually went a bit too quick there, and instead of coming straight up, I've kind of come out a little bit. So I'm just going to backtrack and come across a little bit further. I'm just going to move that underneath so I don't trap my needle with that thread. Because you see, if I had kept going, I would have run off the edge of this piece here. Now I can speed it back up a little bit. All the way to the top. The same applies for this one. This has got little snips in, so we don't want to go right up to that ear. We want to stop just before the tops of the heads to make sure that we've got enough wiggle room in there to be able to get all the way around. Oh, have I run out of bottom bobbin thread?
Oh.
Oh.
We've had an email come through, by the way. Andrea has been in touch. Hi, Andrea. Good evening. And said we should call our penguin Isaiah because one of his eyes is higher than the other. I think. I mean, if you put him on an, I mean, I think Tipsy or Pipsy.
Tipsy.
Oh, Tipsy. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think, well, I just rearrange the stuffing a little bit, but he's just, it's a quirk. It's a little quirk.
But it's learning though, and it's next time you might do something like measure first.
Yeah.
You never know. Just saying.
Yeah, you could measure. But what I like the idea is it's not mass produced.
No, I'm only kidding there. That pattern has actually got eye bits marked on it, but I hadn't marked them on that one.
So I can blame teacher. We do have still some of this kit available. If you'd like to go for the Penguin Soft Toy making course. Look, if I could do some stitching and put on, can you make your eyes more level than mine? $14.99.
The benchmark, is it?
It's a benchmark. Think of that. Can I do better than the bald boy in class? 215 477 $14.99 for Tipsy or Isaiah, or more names could still be accepted. Back to my lovely Hayley.
Okay. Weird.
I think I was going to call weird.
Weird.
I'll take it.
Okay. Oh, I've just swallowed half my hair there. All right. So we've gone all the way around now. So I'm going to make sure I've got all of those pins and clips out. Because my piece was quite tall and skinny, I've actually ended up with a tall, skinny cushion on this, but that is fine. We can get the cushion pad to fit in there. That's no problem. So now I've gone all the way around. I can cut all of these off, but before I do so, I just need to have a quick check all the way around to make sure that I've got no raw edges hanging off that are gonna, you're gonna be able to see through when we're finished. So that's fine. And this part where I've started again, we're fine because those lines will meet up and we won't see those either. So we're gonna go ahead and cut off, this is the scariest bit, cut off all the excess fabric, but you're gonna leave at least, I would say, a centimetre seam allowance on this, and the bits where the fabrics overlap, where you've got those double rolled hems, that's going to be a little bit chunkier. So a decent pair of scissors and just take your time over them. So we can get rid of this. There you go. And when you come to the corners, first of all, you're going to kind of just come straight across, so you've got a square on the corner. And then I would definitely recommend you come back in and what's called double clip those corners. So double clipping means you're going to take a triangle off on one side, and then you're going to whiz it round and take a triangle off on the other side. Now you don't want to get too close to the very corner of that, but what that will do is, can you see when I fold this over to that sewing line there and fold this over to that sewing line there, there's not a great big kind of bulk of fabric in that corner, so it's going to give you a really nice pointy corner on your cushion. So let me clip these other two sides off, and then we'll be able to flip it right side out. That one. Oh, Molly, I've made a right mess on the floor here. I'm ever so sorry. I'm just conscious of time.
We're okay, we got 17 minutes.
Okay, so let's clip the rest of these corners, and then we can get this turned right side out, and then our cushion is done. Obviously it's going to take you a little bit longer to sew if you are hand sewing it. It's just in the interest of us getting it done within the time frame. We've had to just speed it up a little bit with the machine. So once they're all clipped, we're then going to turn this right side out.
Oh, come on everyone, 3 weeks worth of work now.
No pressure, no pressure. So where I've clipped those corners, now I would definitely, because you've hand stitched this, do it with a finger or something kind of plastic rather than your scissors, because if you use your scissors, you've got a chance of kind of piercing that and going through. Just push those corners all the way out. Just give it a wiggle, see if I can get that right out. But can you see now how we've double clipped them, and you've got really kind of nice sharp corners on it rather than kind of big roundy ones. So let me see if I've got anything to stuff this with. There's your second one. And spend a bit of time doing that. And also I've got a recommendation for when you do put the cushion in here, because we have a look at that. There you go. That's, mine's tall and skinny because that's the one the piece of fabric I started with. Yours will be wider and taller, so you'll have at least two full rows of dogs in the centre of yours.
That's brilliant.
So that is how you're going to put it all together. Now, when you stuff cushions, especially ones that have been hand stitched, what I would recommend you do is before you come anywhere near the cushion, just turn that first half over like that, so you can get the cushion into that bit and then just roll it back over, so you're putting the minimum amount of stress on your stitches that you can. Let me restuff the other one as well, so then we can see them side by side. So I'll use exactly the same technique for that one. So my bottom bit is this bit with the button on. Oh, there's a safety pin in here.
Ooh.
That's well, not very safe at all, is it? There we go. Let me get that out of there, because that's not going to help. Oh, we'll have been at shows and things where I've had it pinned to boards and what have you. So I've left that first top half kind of folded over. Going to get the bottom half right away in there. And because, again, it's hand stitched, you don't want to be writhing it about too much and pushing it too hard. So I wouldn't put a kind of an overstuffed one in here. And then I'm just going to push that down a little bit further. So I've got a little bit of wiggle room at the top. And then just fold, push the corners in on your pillow and just roll that over.
Oh, I see.
Because then you're not putting a huge amount of pressure on these side joints, and you're not putting a huge amount of pressure on your hand stitched stitches. Pop that out. Now you can add a buttonhole and the button onto yours if you wish. This is just because we've this is a one that was already made and it's already on there. But there you go.
Ah, brilliant. Well
That's
done.
what you should end up with.
I love it. I love it. What
How's
a great
your penguin?
penguin.
We need to seal the back of your penguin up as well, don't we? We need to do a ladder stitch.
Oh, I've stitched it.
I can help you.
I think, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, look, you know, I think this is great. I actually love this.
Also, I know that the penguins have gone back up to their original price because the Craftalongs are only kind of valid for while
they're live.
In the run-up to, and then once we've completed one. So if you are going to go for this one, this is your last, very, very last chance to get it at the special £5 price.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Do you know what? It is lovely. And just, if you are thinking at home to get involved, or you've never done anything at all, you know, as Hayley and everyone that's doing them, it's step by step, you know, and the fact that I can now thread a needle, that's quite impressive. Do what's the messy knots? Is it the messy knots?
Scruffy knot, yes.
The scruffy knot.
You've learned that one.
And working with it. But it does, just when you know, start to, it just builds your confidence step by step. Who knows
it's
where
kind
it
of
will lead
slow
on to.
Crafting, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're doing it kind of real time. And yes, obviously the ones that Matthew does, fantastic, because you can get those done in an hour. But the ones that we do, yes, there's sometimes a little bit of homework with them, but definitely worth doing. We've actually had some people who've jumped the gun. And I've seen finished projects already. Yes, I have.
Wow.
That's fine. That's fine. Do you know what? If you want to go for it, go for it. But the whole point of it is we are here to hold your hand all the way through. And yes, with some of the soft craft ones, they do take a little bit longer and there's more time invested in them. So that's why we will say, you know, we'll take you this far. You need to pop away and do your homework, and we'll see you next week.
I love it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. If you have been getting involved, do you know what? I'm sure that Hayley would love to see a photograph of the finished.
I would, because there are just thousands of these kids.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but great, though.
Just disappear.
Yeah.
Just disappear into the ether. So we
it'd
would
be
love
nice
to
to
see
see
some
it.
finished
Close-up
ones.
work on your stitching as well, possibly, so we can see that by teaching, which is great. So projects to come. Next time you're going to be seeing Hayley to work with, you'll be looking at the brilliant messenger bag, and it is such a lovely project. Look, let me just show you. This is going to be coming out from you from the 19th of July.
Of a panel.
It's a what, sorry?
It's a whopper.
A whopper of a panel.
Now, I know they have started sending some of these already because we have so many orders on these.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So they have started sending some out already, but do not lose them because you will need them.
You will.
Yeah, but this one's a huge panel. It's about, I think, about 40 centimetres by 1.5 metres. It's a whopper. But all the bits are there ready for you. You've got some fusible interfacing as well, and it'll tell you exactly where you need to do. So the first week with that one, we're going to go through cutting out the pattern, where you need to use your fusible interfacing, and actually kind of starting to get all those pieces ready to start assembling.
I see.
We'll get a few put together on the first night, but it's kind of putting it's the prep and putting the kind of the basics in on the first one, and then we'll get.
I suppose regarding the prep, those sort of things of just preparing and organising what you can do, that you take that with you into whatever project you do, really, isn't it? It's just how you prep and get ready.
Exactly. And it's all about kind of learning and kind of doing things in the right order as well.
Yeah.
So that's why we take you through the prep mostly for the first one. Same as we did with the dog one.
Yes.
You know, a lot of that, getting the dogs onto the... I've clipped that on my finger now. Stop it. The prep is important because if once you get that right, everything else kind of falls in from there. So, and we're going to do the zip in the second week because I think that's the bit that everybody finds the scariest.
Right.
So we'll get that out of the way, and then it's all assembly after that.
Oh, brilliant! You know what? Just going through those prep things and like that, good habits to get into. You know, if you've not done any before, any at all, why not start and know exactly what you should be doing, so you can you know, approach every project that you're going to be working on, and you'll see how these panels will work together from what you got there that go in there. Really lovely. So the 4th of August, if you are there for the 4th, the 11th of August as well, and the 18th. Now, of course, that's for Craftalong live. But don't worry, if you think, well, actually, I know that I'm busy on one of those days. Don't worry. You can catch it on Rewind as well.
I'm busy on the 11th. I've got a one-day special. Can I not do it?
You will be busy. You'll be very busy.
Can I get out of it?
You'll have to watch yourself on Rewind.
Okay,
see how you work. 616 533. It's only £7 for that, and that is going to be a lovely project. Imagine when you've got this out there and you're saying to people, I made that, I did that, with some friends on a Craftalong. Go for that one. It's great. Right, let's move over. If you want to join in with, I love these as well, with the Knitted Cozy hat course. And this is Katie Barber, actually, here. One of our buyers at the studio is actually going to be... So is Katie going to be actually...
Yeah, Katie's going to be
demoing
this one. I mean, Katie's got a fantastic Instagram, and it's called What Katie Knits. So have a look on there. She does some amazing stuff. And she's going to take you through... I mean, August. It's probably not the time to be knitting bobble hats, but once you've learned, that's all your Christmas presents sorted, isn't it?
Well, if you're as slow as me, you might be done just in time for winter.
Exactly.
Maybe it is the perfect time as well. It's lovely. £7 to go with that. And again,
Now,
a lovely hat that you're going to be having as well. You'll be
it's
able to
not
work
just
out
the
all
one.
of this. You're both.
You're going to be able to knit both of those.
That's brilliant.
And, depending on how stingy you are with your yarn, possibly even a third.
Oh, wow. Wow. You will be getting everything that you need to carry out the course itself as well. The knitting needles are included with that
as well. They are metal needles, and they're a pony brand needle as well.
Oh, that's
and
brilliant.
They're sized perfectly to go with that yarn, because that's a double knit yarn. So those are sized. If you have a look on the instructions on the yarn, it'll say it needs a 4mm needle, which is exactly what you've got.
Oh, well, there we are. Absolutely perfect for you to get one. You're going to get the pom-pom template, all of that, the actual hat pattern itself is going to be in there as well. Now, for the 7th of August is when we're launching this particular one as well. So it's the 7th, the 14th and the 23rd of August. Sorry, 21st of August. £7, that's 337,959. If you've always wanted to have a go at knitting your very own cosy hat, this is your opportunity to do it, and being led by somebody literally by the hand as they take you through every single one, which is great. Now, I was involved in, well, I wasn't involved, I was watching with Catherine, actually, when she was some lovely knitting the other day. But if you want to go a chance to go for this is beautiful, with Catherine taking you through the crochet granny square bag
so
that you can see.
So this one will take you through how to do the granny squares themselves, how to add borders to the granny squares, how to attach them together as well, and alongside that, how to make that great big long handle. Now, that great big long handle, the technique that you would use for that, you can then take on and make blankets and cushions and things like that.
Oh,
with
okay.
It. So
really good starting point
really
for this
good
one to
one
go.
for technique, that one.
That's a great one. You get the yarn, you'll get the crochet hook, you get the pattern as well. And we're looking at the 5th of August for for this one, and the 12th of August, and then the 19th of August are your 3 dates. But don't worry, again, as I mentioned, if you get a chance, one of those days you're busy, catch it on rewind, 575708.
You've got too many hooks, my love. You will only get one with the kit, but it is a pony metal easy grip hook. But you do have two there. You only get one.
You get one, okay.
Yes.
I shall
you don't
remove
need
that.
Two. It's crochet. You can only do one at a
Thank you
time.
for pointing out. There may be one, but I shall centre it perfectly in the centre. There we go.
Okay,
so we
thank
can
you.
see that.
Just carry on.
But that's good to know. That's good to know. 575708 for all of that as well. But what a lovely project that will be to do. That's stunning, that. Oh, now I like this. A little trinket box. I think was enough to make 2 of these.
Now, if you're sneaky and you add a bit of your own fabric in there, then yes, you can get 2 of these out. If you have a look inside the trinket box itself, you'll see that's all the remaining thread and floss in there.
That's a lot.
Loads.
So that's remaining after the project was made?
Yes, yeah, after it's been completed, there's loads of floss in there. So if you were a little bit stingy, because you can see there's a blue printed inside as well.
Yeah.
So you could, if you had a piece of fabric lying around, and you need about fat quarter-ish of fabric. So if you've got a fat quarter lying around, you could line the box with something else and actually get yourself 2 out there.
That is lovely. And you'll be able to work with all these patterns because you do actually get, as you'll see on the material as well, you do have all the details there that you'll be working
now, the
to.
Patterns are only printed on one half of it.
Okay.
Because obviously it was intended as one half as the outer, one half as the lining.
Right.
But if you do want to be sneaky, then I know if you download the course, you'll be able to get those patterns or just trace them onto the other piece before you start.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. But really beautiful, actually. Really lovely. If you're looking for sort of a detailed piece, this is really, really nice, actually. A £5 if you want to go for this one. And starting the 2nd of August, that Hayley will take you through for these ones again, leads you by the hand. If you want to go for this one, 379411. I'm hearing very, very popular this course is going to be proving. You might have a full class.
I know, well, we actually added more stock to it before we came to air because all of these, and I want to thank everybody so much for getting involved with this, because these have all been super, super busy. And, you know, it's nice that people want to learn stuff.
Yeah, no, it is. It is great. I've really enjoyed the ones that I've been involved in watching with.
And we always ask you as well, if you've got something you want to learn, then, you know, let us know.
Okay.
You know, email it in. either to me or to the craft store, and we'll try our best to get things in that you want to know about.
You never know. It might be one of those things you say, I always get stuck on doing this kind of project. I'm sure you're not alone with that, you know. So, you know, you might be asking a request and someone else could benefit from that as well. So please do, exactly as Hayley mentioned there as well. Let us know if there's anything in particular. I mentioned this one. I love this. I think this is absolutely brilliant. If you want to go for a little proggy rag rugged hedgehog, join in with the course as well. Love this. Absolutely brilliant. I think I put the eyes in here.
That's Graham.
Is what, sorry?
That's Graham.
This is Graham.
Yeah.
Oh, why Graham?
He's the very, very first proggy project that I ever made. Once I kind of came up with the concept of the 3D animals, he was the very, very, very first one. He's the original proggy.
So how old is Graham?
I think he's about 8 or 9 now.
Really?
He's looking good on it, though.
He does look very good on it as well.
Apart from, don't show his bottom. You can have a look at his bottom, but don't show people.
I'm gonna have a look. I feel violated. Not as much as Graham does. £5.
So the only thing you'll need to get to add to this, and I think it is on the list that's online as well, is it's worth getting a pack of dried peas. Not like a can of baked beans, that's never going to work. You want a pack of any kind of dried peas or beans.
Oh.
Because if you give them a squidge... he's got quite a weight to him, but he's brilliant for kind of door stops and things like that, because he's heavy enough to stop a door, but small enough that he isn't going to get in your road.
I feel like I've known Graham for years. I tell you what,
He's
he might
really
be
well
about 8 years old, but
well,
he just aged
Gets
10
around
in the
as
last
Graham.
30 seconds. He's been looked at and squidged. 736 991, £5, 6th of August, if you'd like to join in. Normal day's work. Matthew Palmer from 3rd of August, £5 if you'd like to go for this one. If you want to go for the watercolour painting course with Matthew Palmer, of course, absolutely brilliant course, of course, I'm sure you'd imagine, to go with that. This will be the 3rd, the 10th and the 17th, all from 9 p.m. You'll be looking at that. If you've always ever wanted to have a go at watercolour, or you've been doing it and you want to just have a paint along, then do join on with that one. 039 131. OK, I'm running out of time. Hayley, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you for allowing me to have a little go.
We got through that one quite quickly tonight.
We
I was
did.
quite impressed
We did.
with us.
I absolutely loved it, as I always do. So thank you for your
Which
your
one,
patience.
if you had to pick, which one would you do out of the new set?
Oh, at the new set. Well, to be honest with you, I think the bag has been really, really popular. So I think the bag's very cool.
Okay.
Actually, I do like the bag, but I do like Graham.
And you seem to have an affinity with the
Well,
soft toy ones.
I feel that we got to know each other very well at that moment.
You could pull off Graham. I reckon you could manage him.
Well, there's an image for the evening. Hayley, thank you very much indeed.
No problem.
Graham, I'll see you in a minute. Have a cracking night. See you soon. Thank you.